My name is Ray Collins. I'm 71 years old. I live in a small house outside Nashville, Tennessee. There's one day in my life I can recall second by second. Not minute by minute, second by second. 32 years on the road gave me thousands of stories, but there's only one day when I was absolutely certain it was going to be the last day of my life. It was my first solo run, and if you're expecting some simple story about a young guy spooked by a little snow, forget it. It was far worse than that. What happened on that mountain pass changed me so much that even now, 40 years later, I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and see that road in front of me. December of 1985. I'm 30 years old. Before that, I worked at a plant in Nashville, like my father, like my uncle, like my older brother. Assembly line, 8-hour shift, the same thing every single day. I hated every minute of that job, but I stuck with it because that's just what our family did. Then one day, I just left. Got my trucking license, got hired at a small freight company in Murfreesboro. The boss, a big man named Earl Timbers, red beard, voice like a bull, looked me over and said, "You sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "We'll see." For 2 weeks, a senior driver trained me, Billy Cross, 52 years old, quiet as a rock. And then came my first solo run. The route seemed simple. Nashville to Knoxville, 14 tons of steel beams for a construction site. Leave at 4 in the morning, deliver by 6 in the evening. I thought I was ready. I had no idea what was actually waiting for me. Earl warned me the night before, "Weather's bad tomorrow. If you feel like you can't handle it, pull over. Better late than never." I nodded, said I understood. But there's a difference between hearing words and actually understanding what they mean. At 30, you think you know everything. I figured bad weather meant a little rain, maybe some fog. I had no idea. By 3 in the morning, I was already at the yard. Checked the rig, an old white Kenworth, worn but solid. Climbed into the cab, started the engine, and that's when something happened that nobody had warned me about. When I was sitting in that cab alone, no Billy beside me, nobody to ask, it got very quiet. Not quiet in terms of sound. The engine was running, the radio was crackling. Quiet in my head. That eerie silence that comes when you realize, right now, everything depends only on you. I put my hands on the wheel and pulled out. The first 2 hours, everything was calm. I got on the highway, the road was dry, not many cars. I even started thinking, well, this is easy. I worried for nothing. Then I saw the clouds. Not ordinary clouds. The kind of heavy, dark, low clouds that an experienced driver sees and immediately understands. This isn't just rain. I switched on the radio, heard other drivers discussing the road conditions ahead. "Ice on the pass. They closing it?" "Not yet, but soon." I asked into the open channel about conditions between 2 towns up ahead. Some old, raspy voice answered, "Who's asking?" "Collins, hauling steel to Knoxville." A pause. "First run?" I didn't know how he figured that out, Maybe it was my voice. "Yeah," I said. "Still passable for now, but take it easy. If you see cars stopping, stop with them. Don't try to be a hero." I thanked him and set down the radio. The first snowflake hit the windshield and melted instantly. I had no idea that was just the beginning. I made it to the next town without any trouble. Stopped at a gas station, got out, looked at the sky. Cold, windy, a fine wet snow falling. The road still clear, but already starting to shine. The attendant, an older man in a heavy coverall, looked at my rig and said, "Watch yourself on the climbs ahead. There's already ice up there. A few cars went off the road this morning." That's where I had to make a decision that changed everything. I could have stopped, waited. Earl had said, "Better late than never." But I thought about the client waiting on that steel. I thought about what Earl would say if I gave up on my very first run. Young and stupid. That's exactly how you think at 30. I kept driving, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. The road started climbing into the mountains, and that's when it all really began. The snow got heavy enough that visibility dropped to maybe 200 yards. The road turned completely white. I slowed to 50, then 40. I had both hands locked on the wheel in a death grip. Then I saw headlights. An oncoming car was riding straight down my lane, coming right at me. For a second, I didn't understand what was happening. Then I understood he was sliding on the ice. Lost control. And now that little car was flying toward me at maybe 40 miles an hour, the gap between us shrinking by the second. I had maybe 1 second to make the decision that would determine whether I lived. Braking on ice is death. I knew that. So I did the only thing I could. I turned the wheel smoothly and steadily to the right, as far as I could without running off the road. The rig swung right. I felt the back wheels slip, held it, corrected. The car shot past me, literally a yard from my left side. I saw the driver's face, a young guy, eyes wide with terror. He somehow held on too, vanished into the snow behind me. I pulled over onto the shoulder, sat there, just breathing, my heart pounding somewhere in my throat. And that was only the beginning of that day. I thought the worst had already happened. I was wrong. I grabbed the radio and called that raspy-voiced driver who'd warned me about the road earlier. "This is Collins. That rookie with the steel almost got taken out by an oncoming car. You alive?" "Alive." "Listen to me carefully. Soon as they clear the road, I'll go first. You stay 200 yards behind me and do exactly what I do. Understand?" "Understood." "What's your name?" "Ray." "I'm Gordy Pierce. 27 years on the road. You're going to make it to Knoxville today, Ray. I promise you that." I never saw that man, never saw his face. But in that moment, his voice on the radio was the most important thing in my life. We waited 40 minutes for the road to get cleared. Then Gordy pulled out ahead, an old red rig. I held back behind him, copying every move he made. We covered 30 miles of mountain road like that, him in front, me behind, quiet, focused. When the road started heading back down and the snow thinned out, Gordy came on the radio. "You're on your own from here. Good work." I thanked him. He said, "Don't thank me. Next time you see a rookie in trouble, help him out. That's how this works." And he turned off at a different exit. I never saw him again. I made it to Knoxville at 5:30 in the evening, 30 minutes before the deadline. Unloaded the steel, signed the paperwork, and only when it was all over, when the cargo was gone and the rig had gone light and quiet, did I feel myself start to shake. Not from the cold. My body finally let itself be scared now that it was all behind me. I sat there for 20 minutes, watching the lot, watching other drivers walking around like nothing special had happened. For them, it was an ordinary day. For me, the longest day of my life. I drove back on a clear road, got back to Nashville by 9 that night. Earl was still in the office, looked at me and said, "Delivered?" "Delivered." He nodded. I noticed his shoulders relax a little, meaning he'd been worried all day. As I was walking out the door, he said, "Collins, there will always be someone on this road with more experience than you. Don't be too proud to ask for help. That's not weakness. That's good sense." I thought about Gordy Pierce and his raspy voice on the radio. "Understood, sir." For 32 years after that, I drove across this country, got caught in snow, in floods, in fog so thick you couldn't see the hood of the truck, saw things you don't want to see. But every time things got hard, I thought back to that day, December of '85, the oncoming car on the ice, Gordy Pierce's voice on the radio, and one simple rule he gave me, not in words, but in action. If you see someone who needs help, help them. Not because you'll get paid for it, just because that's how this works. The road doesn't forgive overconfidence, but it gives a second chance to those who know how to learn. Ray Collins, Nashville, Tennessee. See you next time.